The Ravens just got some great news. Nate Wiggins did not suffer structural damage to his injured left leg or knee, and this changes everything. And while Baltimore still doesn't know when he'll return, this is a massive relief after yesterday's injury scare. But the Ravens weren't done making moves right there, because Skylar Thompson went on the injured reserve, and Baltimore also brought in Austin Reed, a U of L quarterback who just broke the league's single-season touchdown record. So let's talk about Nate Wiggins' update, what happens next for the Baltimore Ravens secondary, and why Austin Reed could be an interesting name to watch in this upcoming preseason. But before we get into today's video, you guys are going to want to make sure to subscribe to Ravens Digest. 70% of you guys are not subscribed. It is completely free, and we are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button. We're providing daily Ravens videos, updates, rumors, all things Baltimore Ravens. You guys are not going to want to miss out on the content we are providing on a daily basis. But let's talk about the Nate Wiggins updates that Ravens fans needed, because yesterday was a very scary day. After yesterday's scare, the Ravens finally got the update we were hoping to get. And according to Ian Rappaport, Nate Wiggins did not suffer any structural damage to his injured left knee or his leg. And this is really, really huge, because at this point, the Ravens aren't talking about losing Nate Wiggins to a major structural injury for the season. But instead, the focus is now shifting towards recovering and figuring out how much time Nate Wiggins will actually need to get back to healthy shape. And this is something we still do not know, as Baltimore has not announced a timetable, so we could see Wiggins miss practice and miss all of the preseason, especially the opener against Philadelphia. But the fact of the matter is, the initial testing did not reveal any structural damage, is exactly what the Ravens wanted to hear and exactly what Ravens fans wanted to hear. But honestly, the Ravens can really afford to be patient when it comes to Nate Wiggins and not afford to rush Nate Wiggins back from a healthy and non-healthy scenario. The preseason is not for Nate Wiggins. He does not need to prove anything in a sense. He is too important to the defense to take unnecessary chances with him. He was a first-round pick in 2024. He was productive as a rookie, and last season he played in all 17 games. It was the most productive cornerback in that entire room with Marlon Humphrey. And that's the type of player that Baltimore is counting on going into this upcoming season. So if the Baltimore Ravens need to hold him out for the preseason opener and the rest of the preseason, it shouldn't be a major concern, because the goal is to get Nate Wiggins ready for September in the regular season. And we need to get him ready and healthy for games that actually count, that are going to matter for Baltimore's hopes going into a Super Bowl push. And while Nate Wiggins does get the time that he needs within this cornerback room, other members are going to need to step up within this room. And as I talked about last video, one of those players that I believe can really help this situation is TJ Tampa. And TJ Tampa has been having a really solid camp, and this situation can give him even more opportunities to show the coaching staff what he can do and his ability. And again, this is not replacing Nate Wiggins to a degree. It is about taking advantage of the reps that you are going to get with him going down for a short period of time. And if he misses an extended period of time, somebody is going to have to take those snaps and those reps. And for a young corner like TJ Tampa, those reps are very valuable, because Baltimore already has Marlowe, we already have Chidobe Awuzie, and while Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks are in the secondary and give that versatility, we still need guys to be behind these starters that can step on the field whenever the defense is falling apart in multiple different ways. And this is where I think TJ Tampa is a very valuable piece, and through the offseason, he's been showing that he is taking some steps for betterment. So with Nate Wiggins' news being on the better side, we finally get some breathing room in terms of knowing that it is not a career or an injury that will take him out for the season. But another move that the Baltimore Ravens made over the past course was a roster move in that quarterback room and changing the quarterback addition. Because with Skylar Thompson being placed on the injured reserve, the Baltimore Ravens went out and signed Austin Reed. And if you don't know the name, there is a pretty good reason to start paying attention in terms of his UFL production, because he completed 174 passes out of 309 passes for 1,923 yards with 21 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. And that 21 touchdown total may seem very high and wasn't just a good number. It was actually a UFL single season record. And they also finished second in the league despite them having a very bad season for the Dallas Renegades, with them being 4-6. But Austin Reed was very productive and was the second best quarterback in all of UFL. And Austin Reed is wasting no time at all to make an impression. He was a baller in that season opener, and he threw for 376 yards and was a very productive piece for the UFL Renegades. Austin Reed is a player that can come into this Baltimore Ravens scenario, and this signing makes a lot of sense with Skylar Thompson hitting the IR because he isn't unfamiliar to playing the NFL style of football because he was actually a part of the Chicago Bears team for a preseason and a part of the final time. Now, he was waived during the final roster cuts and returned to the practice squad before eventually being waived again. But he has some preseason experience. He completed 23 for 33 passes for 230 yards across 5 different appearances in the preseason, and he also threw for a touchdown. So Baltimore isn't bringing in a player who has no NFL experience or preseason experience. He's been through the process before, and now he's just getting another opportunity on a newer team to see if he can be a productive piece with the preseason and in that quarterback depth chart for the Baltimore Ravens. But we already know the scenario that he is walking into going into this actual quarterback room. We know that Lamar Jackson is our quarterback of the future, and Tyler Huntley is right behind him. And rookie Joe Fagneto is also competing for that developmental spot within that quarterback room. So Reed isn't coming in to challenge Lamar for the starting spot. We obviously know this. This is not the situation. His job is way much simpler than this. Learning the offense, getting that experience under Declan Doyle's new offense and learning these reps, taking advantage of whatever preseason opportunities, whether it is him getting minutes in this upcoming game on Saturday against the Philadelphia Eagles, and just showing Baltimore that they can trust him when needed, especially when Skylar Thompson is hitting the IR, and that is another quarterback who you are missing out on. And for a quarterback who threw 21 touchdown passes in the UFL, it is a pretty interesting chance that he can make a jump in being better in terms of an NFL organization and showing he can make that leap from UFL to the NFL, something that I've seen numerous different players make in a play and play again basis. But as we know, the Baltimore Ravens are starting their preseason push against the Philadelphia Eagles this Saturday. And now it is even more interesting when you look into the players that are worth watching. Austin Reed gets that chance to show what he can do in NFL preseason environments for a second time. The cornerback room looks completely different, and with Nate Wiggins' status being very questionable at the moment, TJ Tampa has another chance to build on what has already been a very solid camp and early training camp for him. And this is really the beauty of the offseason. I really love this part of the offseason because when you are starting to move away from what players can do, you can start to see what these guys can actually produce. And other players like Jacoby Lane, we are very, very excited to see what they do in a 4-quarter NFL scenario. And this is when roster battles become way easier to evaluate in terms of who is going to get cut, who is the dark horses on your team, and who is really going to be effective during the regular season. So when you look at the bigger picture of what the Baltimore Ravens did over the past couple of days, the first is the relief in terms of Nate Wiggins. The Ravens avoided a devastating injury situation with Nate Wiggins, and while there's still more information to come, no structural damage is very huge and a huge positive for Baltimore Ravens fans. And the second is opportunity. Austin Reed now gets an opportunity in this upcoming preseason to show what he can do and show that he has the UFL production to be able to translate to NFL preseason experience. And while this, TJ Tampa is also another player that is making their case in terms of Nate Wiggins working his way back. And with the preseason opener just days away, we are still finding a whole lot more about these guys and are very excited to see what they can bring in this upcoming preseason. So after yesterday's scare, I think Ravens fans can breathe a little bit. Nate Wiggins, as we know, avoided the damage, and this is exactly what Ravens fans wanted to hear. And while we still have to wait and see how long he's going to be out, I could have been having a completely different conversation with you today and talking about him being out for the season. And adding Austin Reed into the mix is another player that I'm going to watch closely this Saturday and for the rest of the preseason. And the preseason is officially here, 2 more days to go. And now we are really finding out which guys are actually going to contribute when the regular season arrives. But that is today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to Ravens Digest if you are new, and turn on post notifications because we are covering everything Baltimore Ravens throughout the preseason, throughout the regular season, and through that playoff and hopeful Super Bowl push for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson's quest for a Super Bowl. My name's Alassane, and we'll see you on the next one. And until then, Ravens flock always.